Welcome back to our yoga cafe. Today we're going to focus our attention on relaxation. I think I just made that worse. Okay, I'll just leave it alone. So half of our practice we will do lying down on the floor, or on a bed, or on a couch, or in a lazy boy, a barca lounger, whatever you need to be comfortable. So I want you to take a moment now to collect whatever props you might need to be able to maintain, a good 15-20 minutes in one position. So that might include some blankets, some nice warm socks, maybe an eye pillow, maybe a couple of throw pillows or a big cushion, whatever you need to be comfortable. Go ahead and grab those and just set them off to the side for the second half of our class. Just make sure that they're close by. And then, of course, you're always going to need your sturdy chair with a nice straight back. And if you don't have a chair that has a back, you can always use a piece of furniture that is high. Okay, so go ahead and grab those and then we will begin. And we're going to start seated. So go ahead and take a few moments to settle into your comfortable seat, whatever that may be. And really feel yourself grounded, kind of like when you do your Google map and you create a direction, you have to understand where you are starting from. What's your starting point? So as you drop the weight of your legs into your chair and you settle your feet against the floor, you might even lean back against the back of your chair, but just really notice right here, drop a pin, drop your weight. Notice where you're starting from. What does it feel like in your body? And then as you tune into your breathing, what does your breath feel like in this moment? And this information is going to inform how you proceed, which direction you go in from here. Now, if you were doing your own home practice, you might choose something different than relaxation, right? If you checked in with your body and you notice, wow, I've got a lot of fatigue. I've got a lot of I'm just really sleepy. I don't want to relax. I want to use some energy and move something out. So maybe today's practice wouldn't be appropriate for that moment. Or maybe you have a lot of fatigue and you don't want to move a lot. So then today's practice would be appropriate. We aren't going to do a lot of physically demanding things. This will be more of a mental practice. Okay. All right, so let's begin with our sea otter massage. Kind of a crowd pleaser there. If you wear glasses, you'll remove your glasses. Just take your hands and rub them together until you get a little bit of heat. And then once you've got some heat, go ahead and brush the face, the scalp, your neck, up and down one arm, up and down the other arm. Brush your chest and your belly, just like the sea otter. And then lean a little forward, brush your back. And then brush your hands down your pants like you're sweeping crumbs off your lap. And then pause and take a moment to notice the effects of that brushing practice. Notice any pulses or tingles. Notice if your heart rate might have changed a little bit, maybe some heat somewhere. And also be aware of any places that feel vacant. Okay, we're going to try that again. Maybe go a little bit faster during this massage now that you know which body parts coming up. So you'll begin with the hands together, and then you brush the face, scalp, neck, up and down one arm, up and down the other arm, chest and belly, back, legs, and pause. Again, just noticing. And we're going to do this one more time with the option of holding your breath in during the entire massage. If at any time this makes you feel uncomfortable, agitated, go ahead and release the breath and just breathe normally as you go through the rest of the massage. Okay. So begin by emptying out your breath. Inhale the hands together. Hold if you're going to hold. And then brush the face, scalp, neck, up and down one arm, other arm, chest and belly, back, legs, and then exhale. So you might have noticed a big shift when you were holding your breath and doing the massage versus not holding your breath. Or you might not have noticed anything. That's okay too. All right, let's move on to the joints of the body. So we're going to lace the fingers very loosely, point your elbows down, and just begin to circle the wrists around. And you'll start to feel something, some sensation around the wrists and maybe even into the forearms, most likely on the outer part of the forearm. What I mean by that is the part that gets the sun, right? Not the inside part of the forearm. Okay, let's pause, go the other direction. Okay. And then once we've done that enough to sort of fatigue the muscles, then we're going to pause and extend the arms. I'm actually going to angle myself so that you can see this a little better. So extend the arms. You don't have to bend, you don't have to straighten the arms all the way, but I do want you to try bending at the wrists so that you feel that on the inside of the forearm this time. Okay. And then curl the fingers in, wrists in, elbows in, possibly even pointing the elbows up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, unroll your arms and hands. Inhale, pull the hands and arms in, and then exhale, unroll, sending them back out. So it's a little bit like a New Year's Eve party horn, right? As you exhale and you blow the horn, the arms unroll and reform themselves. And then as you inhale, they roll up, pulling into the body, and then exhale. We're going to do that one more time. And then simply let your hands rest on your lap and pause, noticing again any pulsing, any tingling, any places that feel vacant. Just be aware. Okay. Now this next shoulder exercise may be more easily accessible from a standing position. You could do it in a seated position as long as you are far enough away from the back of your chair where you're not going to bump into it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate from standing, so you're welcome to join me in a standing position. We're going to start just with the arms down heavy, and I'm going to begin just with my right arm. Bring your right shoulder forward, and the arm comes a little bit diagonally across the body. And then bring the shoulder up. Imagine you're holding on to something really heavy, and just the shoulders moving up, then back, and then down. Then forward, up, back, and down. So notice that you're not moving the whole arm very much, but you are getting a lot of sensation from that shoulder. Okay, you can stay with this variation, or if you'd like, you can start to move the arm a little more by bending the elbow and circling the elbow around. Okay. Still, the shoulder is doing a very similar action, forward, up, back, and down. And if this is feeling okay, you can try it with the arm extended even more. So just check in with your body to see what shoulder movement, what arm movement is appropriate for your shoulders. Let's go around one more time. And then we'll pause. Same side, so same arm, we're going in the opposite direction. And I'll let you decide. Are you going to keep it just the shoulder, that variation, or are you going to bring in the elbow, that variation, or are you going to extend the arm? So these are all simply options for you. Remember, we're checking in and then we're going where it's appropriate to go. Let's go around one more time on this side and then pause, noticing the difference between the right and the left sides. And you might need to like kind of shake things out a little bit. Yeah. Okay. And when you're ready, you're going to start on the opposite side, the second side, and you'll begin again just with the shoulder. So shoulder goes forward, up, back, and down. So just the shoulder movement for a few rounds. Even if you know this arm can take it, just try it, right? And then elbow maybe, or maybe not. And if that's feeling okay, maybe the arm extends. Remember, you can always go to one of the other variations if that feels better for you. Let's go around one more time. And then we will reverse direction. And you get to choose which of those variations feels appropriate for you. Is it the arm extended? Is it the elbow? Or is it the shoulder? Last time around. And then pause at the bottom and just notice how that feels. Okay. Now we're going to come into a little bit of a rotation for the torso, not for the hips or the knees. So what I'd like you to do is take a moment to stand with your feet a little wider than your shoulders, toes turned slightly out, and then bend the knees a little bit, just so that we can create that very firm foundation. Now, the movement here is very simple. It's just inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And what I'm doing with my hands, it's as if you've got, some wet sand in your hand and you're just trying to toss it. So the concept here is we're draining off any excess or unwanted chi from the upper body. And as it comes down into the hands, we're just going to toss it. And we do that with the hand that's crossing in front of the body, but we also do that with the hand that's crossing behind. Exhale. It can be a little bit challenging to see. That's why I'm spending so much time on that. Okay, so inhale, the arms go out. Exhale, twist. Inhale, exhale, twist. And you're just going side to side, kind of gently, especially at first, till you get the hang of it. You can slightly straighten and bend the knees a little bit if that helps. I like to breathe out through my nose with a little bit of emphasis. I won't say force, just a little bit of emphasis, like I'm brushing a cobweb away. I'm just letting everything that is the weight on my shoulders, heaviness in my head and neck, just letting it slide down my arms and tossing it away. The idea is when we get done with this, we feel a little bit lighter. Once more to each side. And then come to center and just pause, noticing how that feels. There might be some tingling or pulsing. Again, you might have noticed some change in your breathing rhythm or your heart beating. Okay, just notice how that feels. All right, now we're going to come into the hips. So the feet are still wider than your shoulders, knees slightly bent. And I want you to take your right hand to your right hip. Now, where we place the hands is really where we bring our attention. Okay, that's just something that we humans do. So you're going to bring your attention to your right hip and pretend that the right hip is the sole driver of this hip circle. Left hip is just along for the ride. So you're going to go all the way to the side and back, other side and forward, as far as that right hip will allow. And I like to keep the knees pretty bent here so that I don't strain the knees. See how that feels. You might get a lot of clicks and clacks, and that's okay. Okay, last circle this direction. We're going to stay with the right side and go the other direction. And if this is your first time or first time in a while, kind of directing the attention this way, then go slowly. Don't rush it. Okay. One more time around, and then we'll pause. Release the hand, and notice if there's any difference between your right hip and your left hip in terms of awareness or sensation. And then let's bring our left hand to the left hip. So we'll start with the circle that is large enough that the left hip can manage. If this is your non-dominant side, like it is for me, you'll notice that the right hip still wants to be the driver. It's backseat driving. So don't let your right hip backseat drive. Let the left hip lead. And this does get easier the more you practice it. The left hip or the non-dominant hip will start to respond with more practice. All right, last time around this direction, and then we reverse. So there's different clicks and clacks for me on my non-dominant side versus my dominant side. That could be because of my asymmetry or it could just be because I'm noticing it differently. Okay, last time around. Whew. And then come to center, taking a moment to notice your hips, your left, your right hip. And if you need to, you can kind of shake out the hands and the hips and, do whatever you need to do. Okay, so now we're going to brush down the leg channels. And if you are not comfortable folding forward from a standing position, you can always do this seated, either in your chair or seated on the floor. We're going to begin our fingers brushing along the big toe side of the foot. So hands come to the big toes, and then hands brush up the inner ankle, inner shin, inner knee, inner thigh, up over the belly, down the outer hip, outer knee, outer shin, outer ankle. And then when you reach the little toe, I want you to brush the excess chi off and toss it. Okay? So it comes up, big toe side, inner leg, belly, and then you go down outer leg to the little toe side, brush it off and toss it. Inhale on the way up, inner line of the leg, and then exhale on the way down, outer line of the leg, little toe and toss. Inhaling up, exhaling down and toss. Inhaling up, exhaling down and toss. One more time. Inhaling up. I'm sorry, 1.5 more times. Exhaling down and toss. Now just brush up to the belly. Stay here at the belly and begin to circle around the belly. And start to make those circles a little bit bigger. Until there's no more belly, until you're reaching out to the bones of the rib cage, hip bones, pubic bone. Once you get to that big of a circle, reverse. And start to make your circle a little bit smaller, and a little smaller, and a little smaller, until eventually you are just right over the navel. Right over the navel. Okay. And then bring your hands to the kidney area. You might need to turn your palms to face away from you and rub with the back of your hands. That could be a little more comfortable on your shoulders than actually having your hands, palms touching your kidney area. Okay, and then let's just take a moment to shake out the hands and let the arms hang down by your sides for a couple of breaths. That was a lot for the arms. When you're ready, we're going to do another brushing, this time of the chest. Okay, so we'll start with the hands up on the top of the chest, just below the collarbones, and you're going to brush apart, down the sides, come together under the breasts, and then cross between the breasts, and then go back apart, down, under, and cross. Yeah. Let's do that one more time. Pause at the top and reverse. So now the hands come together at the top. You're going to cross the hands as they come down the center. Then they split apart and come up the sides. Okay. And you'll notice that your shoulders are doing a lot of work too here. One more time like that. And then let's slowly brush down. And again, it's a little bit like you're brushing crumbs, but this time off your shirt, one hand, then the other, until you get to the navel. Stack both palms, just pause there and breathe. Feeling the belly expand as you inhale and contract as you exhale. Okay, so we're going to come now into some side bending. Separate the feet wider than your shoulders, a nice wide, almost like a triangle pose shape, and then turn the toes slightly out and bend the knees. So we're going to begin with the hands extended out like a T shape. And then you'll take your right palm, turn the right palm to face up, and then move your left ear to your left shoulder as the right palm slides over the top or over the right side of your head. It doesn't touch the head, it just glides over it. And then you turn the palm towards the ceiling and sweep across the clouds in the sky or your ceiling. Okay. So then turn the left palm up, sweep it across the left side of your head, and then sweep the left palm across the ceiling or the sky. And you go back and forth that way. Side bend, and then sweep across. Side bend, and then sweep across. Now to connect this with the breath, I'm going to let you decide which direction, but this is one half of the breath, and then the sweep across is the other half. So this could be your inhale, and then your exhale, or you could do it the other way around. I want you to feel that along the side of your body. And of course, you are following the range of motion of your shoulder that is appropriate. So maybe you don't sweep quite as far if the shoulder doesn't want to go that way. If you're healing something, or there's just a pattern. Let's do this one more time to each side. And then release the arms. Ah, that feels good. Release the arms and bring the feet in closer to each other. Standing with the feet just underneath the hip joints. So oftentimes when I say hips width, people think, oh, as wide as the outside of my hips. No, what I mean is hip joint width. So heels are right underneath the area where the thigh bone comes into the pelvis. Okay, so that's hips width apart. Now this is where we're going to bring in the back of your chair or your piece of furniture. And I'll show you what I mean in a moment here. So you're standing facing the back of your chair or your piece of furniture with the heels underneath your hip joints. And let's start with the knees slightly bent, hands resting. Now begin to push your heels into the floor and the top of your head up towards the ceiling or the sky so that the muscles of your legs, especially around your knees, grow very firm and strong. Okay, now push down with your hands and draw your shoulders back, lifting your chest towards your chin. And if it's appropriate for you, you might lift your chin up towards the crown molding where your wall and ceiling meet. Right? You don't have to go chin all the way to the sky, but be aware that if this makes you feel uncomfortable or dizzy or makes you hold your breath, then it's better to do it with the chin down. Okay, so you're dropping the shoulders, lifting the chest, the legs are firm, you're pushing against the floor to bring that chest up higher and higher, stretching open the front of the body in a cobra pose. So this is cobra without coming to the floor. Take one more breath here. And then as you exhale, move into a forward bend. So you'll step your feet back, stretch your hips away from your hands. You might need to bend the knees a little bit, but really bring the outside of the hips, the outer hips back. Breathe. One more breath here. Firm through the legs, just like you had them doing cobra. And then to come out, you bend the knees, walk to your chair, and release the arms. Okay. We're going to take a seat and practice both a physical and a non-physical movement. What I mean by that is think about all the things that make up your arm, right? So we can think about the arm from a purely physical perspective. So all the skin, all the muscles and tendons and ligaments and bones and the blood vessels and lymphatic vessels, all the cartilage, the bursa, everything physical that makes up the arm, right? There's that physical aspect, but there's also an energetic aspect. There's a memory associated with the arm. There is emotion associated with the arm as well. So we're going to begin just by inhaling the arms floating up, the physical arm floating up, and then exhaling the arms floating back down. Okay, just feel that. Feel all the components of your physical arm moving through space, moving through the air around you. Try that one more time. Feel the clothing shifting on your skin, and the muscles that engage or disengage. And then once your hands are back down in your lap, close your eyes. Recall the memory of moving your arms. And on your next inhale, visualize, really see the arms moving in front of you. Inhaling them up. Recall the feeling of them moving up. And then exhaling them down. Recall the feeling of moving them down. Do that 2 more times. Paying attention to the energetic component of the arms, the memory component, the sensation and feeling of moving the arms. Okay. And then with your eyes open, let's work with moving both the physical and the energetic component of the arms. And you'll have to go a little slower. You might be aware of the heat that is surrounding your arms and your hands. that there's almost a trail of heat that you're moving through as you go up and down. You might notice other sensations, ones that you don't perhaps even have names for. Let's take one more round like that. And when you complete your next exhale, go ahead and let your hands drop back in your lap. And just pause, feeling that. We typically move through our day with more awareness of our physical body than the non-physical body, and sometimes not even aware of the physical body. So this can be really challenging to pay so close attention to the physical body, and then to even open our awareness to the non-physical body. So if it feels strange and difficult, don't worry, you're doing it right. All right. We're going to come now to our relaxation position, our nest. We're going to create our luxurious nest. So take a few moments now to reset your space, your working space, so that you've got something soft and supportive below you. And then take any amount of cushions and blankets that you need to be comfortable. For example, my feet tend to get really cold when I don't move very much. So I'm going to have not only a blanket below me, but I'm also going to have a blanket just for my feet, just to cover up my toes. And then I've got a cushion for my knees and a cushion for my head. And then when you've got your setup all complete and ready, go ahead and join me on your back. So find a way to place your hands that is comfortable and not touching your body. Oops. And then after you've settled into a comfortable shape, you're welcome to close your eyes or even place an eye pillow over your eyes, because there won't really be any movement after this. So there's nothing for you to see. Take a few breaths and let yourself drop down, releasing the weight of the body. The weight of your heels and the backs of your legs and your hips. The weight of your hands and your elbows and your shoulders. And the weight of your head, your spine. I'm going to refer to the head and neck as another limb. So just for today's practice, we'll consider that we are an animal with 5 limbs. But let's begin with the limbs we're comfortable with. Let's start at the feet. Bring your attention to your toes. And visualize those toes beginning to melt like butter melting in a pan. See them melting and creating a pool of liquid light. But that pool doesn't drop into the floor. It seeps into the foot, melting the foot and the heel into a pool of golden liquid light. And that seeps into the shins, which melt. And that seeps into the knees, which melt. And that seeps into the thighs, which melt. And that seeps all the way into your hips. So everything from the toes all the way up to the hips has melted, transformed into liquid light, and has been drawn inward towards the core of the body. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, visualize recreating the thighs, knees, shins, heels, feet, and toes. Inhale, melt from the toes, knees to the hips, pulling everything into the body. Then exhale, visualize sending it all back out. Thighs, knees, shins, heels, feet, toes. Inhale, melt and draw it in. And as you exhale and send it back out, visualize these legs going back out, brand new, even better than before, perhaps. So inhale, you melt and pull in. Exhale, recreate and send it back out. Do that one more time, melting, pulling in, and then recreating the legs and the feet and the toes, brand new. And just pause at the end of your exhale, feeling the energy of your legs. Now bring your attention to your fingers. Tips of your fingers, see them melting into that liquid light, that golden liquid light that starts to draw inward towards the palms, melting the palms, drawing inward towards the wrists, melting the wrists, drawing inward towards the forearms, melting forearms, the elbows, melting, drawing inward towards the upper arms, melting, everything inward towards the shoulders, into the body. Take a breath, and on the exhale, send it all back out, recreated, bright, brand new, shiny, upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, palm, fingers. Inhale, melt and draw inward, fingers, hands, elbows, shoulders. exhale, send it back out. Brand new. Arms, wrists, hands. Inhale, melting and drawing inward towards the body. And then exhale, sending it back out. Brand new. And once more, inward. And then exhaling, sending the arms back out, brand new. And just pause at the end of that exhale, feeling your arms. Bring your attention now to the top of your head, the scalp. Visualize the scalp starting to melt and draw towards the skull, which starts to melt and draws down towards the face, melting into the jaw, melting into the neck, the whole head melting into the torso. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, send everything back out, neck, face, head. Inhale, melting head, face, neck, inward. Exhale, send it all back out, neck, face, head. Brand new. Melting, draw inward. Exhale, send it back out. Brand new, better than before. Melting as you draw inward. And exhale, send it back out. And once more like that, melting as you draw inward. And then exhale, sending it back out. And at the end of the exhale, just pause, feeling the energy of your head. So now we've become expert at melting and recreating. Let's see if we can do all 5 limbs at the same time. On the next inhale, from the toe tips, fingertips, scalp, melt and draw inward to the core of the body. And then exhale, recreate legs, arms, feet, hands, head. Inhale, melting and drawing inward. Exhale, recreating, sending it back out. Do that a few more times on your own. And at the end of your next exhale, let this practice go. Allow yourself to rest. Resting in this brand new, bright, shiny, golden self. My instructions are going to be limited for now, and instead, just give you some wind chimes to listen to as you relax and breathe and rest. And take a slightly deeper breath. Come back into your body, into the space that you're in, and start to move those brand new fingers and toes. Maybe turn your head a little bit left to right. And as you're ready, begin to make your way back into a comfortable seated position, whatever that may look like for you today. Thank you for spending this time, for visualizing, and for using your imagination, and for relaxing. Take care. Peace.